Here we go.
Here we go. I'm playing the song. Oh, hang on. Oh. Wow.
Singing to myself, singing for the neighbors, holding on for what? Holding on to paper. I was on the left, you were only fading. I was on my own, staring at the ceiling. Whoa.
Well, 30 seconds.
There it is.
30.
There
We have
it
this
is.
thing, Nick. Oh, hey, everybody. Jody Mitic Podcast, episode 18.
19. 19.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, sir.
That's right. The legendary Nick
Yes.
Terrio is in the house. Is in the house. The sculptor, the architect of Jody 3.0.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
I am the shitty foreman of the project, but Nick came all the way out to Casa de Jody to. So anyway, we'll get back into Nick and how awesome he is in a second. But that song was "Holding Out" by the Lumineers from the Storks soundtrack. Dope movie.
Yeah?
Took my daughters on Friday, and I cried more than they did.
Yeah, of course you did.
I usually
I'm a
do.
big baby.
Me too. When it comes to movies, especially if I'm with my kid,
Oh my god,
I'm ridiculous.
I am brutal.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Oh, I feel like such a shitty tough guy.
Right. You need to step up your tough guy game.
Tough guy game.
Dads can be simultaneously the very best tough guys and the worst tough guys.
Go on.
We do both.
We can
You
get
can't-
unbelievably possessive and unbelievably,
Oh,
or we can just be emotional.
Yeah,
puddles of water,
yeah.
and they're both necessary and they're both good for our daughters to see.
yeah. No, it's just about babies, right? The whole movie,
Right.
and then at the end, there's like a bazillion babies,
Okay.
and that song comes on, and all the storks are like, it's like their raison d'être comes back.
Right.
So you see them like they're like esprit de corps. So I'm getting all the like emotions from like seeing like fucking cartoon birds
Yeah.
find their reason for living again, and it's to like deliver cute little animated babies. It's
What-
kind of weird, but
What can be better than that?
well, it was a world where storks actually deliver stuff.
Right.
So right away, it's not based in reality.
Clearly.
But
Huh? No, wait. Hang on. I
know. It's crazy, but
We're chucking truth grenades right here on the podcast already. 2 minutes in.
spoiler alert. Yeah, it's a good movie. And Samberg, Andy Samberg is the voice of the main character, and he's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that guy. He's one of those ultra multi-talented guys that came out of SNL who's just can do kind of almost anything he sets his mind to.
Did you see Never Stopping?
No, I have not seen it yet.
Or what's the name of the movie though? Popstar?
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah?
shit, it's hilarious. Because his first movie was, he was on a motorcycle and he was a stuntman.
Oh, I know the one you mean.
Yeah,
I don't.
and it was awful.
I never saw it because it looked awful. Like right from the preview, was forget it.
Yeah, like
No
I never
way.
bothered to watch it.
Yeah.
A lot of the SNL movies are really terrible too.
Yeah, but it's
That's
the
true.
same. It's Andy Samberg though.
Yeah.
Like the guy who does MacGruber, he's in the show Last Man on Earth now. I think, right? It's the same dude, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
His comedy has always kind of sucked to me.
Yeah, I don't have a taste for it.
Where
at all.
Samberg's has really gotten way better. That show Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
I've seen a bit of that. That's funny.
You see, I got that queued up on Netflix. I
Yeah,
have like a
you
queue of
gotta
shows,
watch
right?
it.
and that's on it. So
Yeah.
I'll check
It's on the to watch list.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like that too. My like wish list. No, that's iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my list on Netflix is ridiculous.
Oh, mine too. It's so long. I'll never get through it. But I just added something to it the other day. A show called Meat Eater.
Ooh.
yeah, season 5 and 6 I heard is on
Yeah,
Netflix.
come
I've been
on.
like waiting because I don't have cable.
Yeah,
so I've been
me neither.
waiting, and I'll go online, and whenever he's on Rogan's podcast, what's
Yeah.
his name? Steve Ranella.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I'll go because he has a YouTube page, and he has
He has Instagram.
Yeah, but there's never more than like a minute or two.
So maybe
right.
just for listeners and also for myself, what's this guy all about? I've never heard of him.
He's a hunter.
Yep.
And he kills and eats things on TV.
Like just exotic things, or like does he
No,
just have
not
themes,
always.
or-
Like it'll be like deer,
Yeah.
elk,
Okay, so,
bear.
yeah.
He's gone and shot water buffalo in Australia.
Yeah.
But like not he's had shows where he doesn't kill anything because they just aren't successful. And it's cool. But anyway, he's a very he's a bro. He's a dude.
Yeah.
So, you want to watch a show, but I'm not going to get cable just to watch a show, right?
No.
Yeah.
So, but now it's on Netflix.
Yeah. Amazing.
And the new Apple TV has you can download. Oh, I was at your house when I saw it.
That's right.
It has the apps.
Yes. Yeah, Apple TV is phenomenal. We've been using it at home for a couple of months now. It has apps you can download, like Plex, for instance, which allows me to download stuff, not illegally, of course, onto my computer and then stream it right to my TV.
That's cool.
Just
I
by
like that.
by dropping it onto the server and it goes right to the TV.
Yeah.
But that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a bunch of different apps that you can
Well,
use.
the old Apple TV, the apps are dictated to you.
Yeah, no. Now
And you can choose
actually-
from the ones that are there.
Yeah.
But like, there's no HBO app, there's no CBC app, blah 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 blah. The new one now, it's kind of like your phone.
Yep.
You just pick whatever apps you want, right?
Yeah, for instance, I like watching the National at night before I go to bed just to sort of catch up on what the day held, and I can do that now on my own time with the Apple TV. So.
Nice. See, that's what I'm looking forward to. See, I bought a new TV, and it's the same TV but a little bit bigger that I bought the kids last year. And the guy's like, "Well, this isn't a smart TV." And I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, "Well, it doesn't have Netflix, doesn't have this, that." And I'm like, "Oh, you mean everything my Apple TV does?"
Yeah.
That's way cheaper than the extra $400 you want me to spend right now. Just go get my TV, okay?
Yeah.
Sponsors?
Firehouse Coffee Roasters.
Firehouse. Woo, woo, woo.
It's my first time having Firehouse. It's delicious.
It's
Is
the-
it?
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah,
it's a real
it's 5 alarm. Is it 5 alarm delicious?
Might even be 6.
Oh, see? Right?
Put that on the package. Hang on.
Yeah.
What's his name again? Greg?
Glenn.
Glenn?
Glenn.
Glenn.
Not some good
I'm
coffee.
gonna make a note here. Glenn,
Hey,
put this quote. You guys talk.
He's perfectly writing this
It's funny
down.
when coffee started becoming a thing again, after the Seattle boom and all that, Starbucks, and coffee was delicious for a while. Like they really introduced like a new level, but then it kind of got bland because all the places started making the same flavor of coffee, the same bean almost they seem to be
Right.
using, which obviously they weren't, but it tastes like that. But now the small indie almost, and I think honestly craft beer is the reasoning behind a lot of that. I think craft beer built the model for entrepreneurship in that kind of field.
Right.
And now it's, people are getting off on finding that little niche and making it their coffee.
I want to get a coffee blend for the podcast.
I think if
I just
anyone-
think I need my own coffee blend anyway.
Yeah, of course.
You've
It just
been
makes
through
sense.
a lot over coffee. So I think you
What's
should-
that?
You've been through a lot over coffee. So I think you should
Over? What do you mean?
Well, the coffee machines and all that kind of stuff. I think you
What you got to go and do that, man? She followed me on Twitter last night. That reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And Alana and I were at an event with the RCMP, and I know you're not gonna like this, Nick. I'd had 2 drinks, and because I don't drink, I don't drink right now,
right.
right?
That's right, you don't.
I'm just gonna move over to this side of the room.
Yeah.
I see you.
I
I told you this before the show, man. It was a crowd of people I really wanted to impress, and that's the other thing. My pre-workout from the gym was still kind of making me jittery,
Yep.
so I didn't want to get up and do my speech and be all like, because that, regardless of how much time, like I'm not nervous talking to a crowd, but your heart rate goes up.
Of course.
So, and I've had moments where, because I like my quad lattes from Starbucks. Quad, if you don't know, is 4 shots of espresso, long pull, son.
Of course. Of course it's got to be a long pull.
And anyway, so anyway, I've gotten up in front and you just like your heart rate goes up and you kind of get short of breath when you're talking. Turns out I didn't actually speak until about an hour and a half after the event was supposed to be over. So anyway, I'm looking, I'm like, why would she follow me on Twitter? But yesterday I tweeted that I was only going to talk in memes and GIFs.
Right, yeah.
And then I proceeded to tweet a bunch of memes and GIFs. except for I think I replied to a few people with words, and I put up a James Bond meme. I don't know if you saw it. I put the same one on Instagram, and it's the scene where he's like leaning against the bar. It's a shot,
Yep.
and it's who's James Bond?
Sean Connery?
No, the good one.
Oh.
Well, sorry, sorry. You're right. You're
You watch your
right.
I think you're thinking
sir.
Daniel Craig.
You're looking
Daniel
for the
Craig.
latest one.
He's the best one.
You know, if we put aside our historical biases, he's right. Daniel Craig is actually, especially
Damn
if
it,
you've
you
read
may
the
be
books,
right.
if you've read the books, he's way more like, and they're making the movies way more likable. Sean Connery.
Well, that's
Right,
that's the
okay.
thing. Like, Craig is benefiting from more better writing,
exactly.
right? Like, I feel bad for Bronson because he had the worst writer, producer, directors of the series.
Yeah.
Like, the cars were completely indestructible, and like, you know, like, remember? Okay, I know, way off to left field here, but there's the one where the North Korean guy makes himself white with genetic. Remember that one?
No, but I'm just imagining if that came out today.
Oh, it would be, you'd have to accept it because that would be his decision.
Right, yes.
You can't, anyway, such jerks. In the scene, there's a scene where the two cars, the super spy cars, are battling and they're launching mortars at each other and rockets, and machine guns are like, the headlights go away and then machine guns come out because, there's lots of space in a Jaguar for machine guns on both headlights. Bronson's car ends up on the roof, and he flips it back over by opening the sunroof, which goes up, and it flips his car over. And I remember even as I think I was a teenager, and I was just like, wait a minute, what just happened?
That is one hell of a hinge.
My bullshit meter was just about at red line, but I was still into it. I was digging it, and then you did that with that sunroof, and I'm like, I'm out.
Wow.
I'm out. Checking out.
They over bullshitted.
Yeah. So anyway, so the meme was Daniel Craig as Bond leaning against a bar, and it's the general. Is it Petraeus?
Yep.
The Marine Corps guy. Yeah.
Yep.
Be courteous, be professional, be polite, but have a plan to kill everybody in the room.
Yes, I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. Only people who reacted to it were the media. She was one of them, and she said, it's tweets like this that get Jody Mitic his reputation."
Right.
And then another guy who's an editor at the Citizen, I think, did the quote thing on Twitter and wrote the lame excuse me ... And you guys know me.
Yeah.
So I almost initiated.
This could have escalated.
Yeah, but I was having such a good day yesterday.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with my kids, got to the gym in time, and I was just trying to have fun by posting only memes and GIFs. You are not going to ruin that for me. I almost tweeted back the butthurt report to them, but I thought, poking the bear with a stick once,
Right.
well, might as well not poke it twice. Might end up like my man in, where was that dude again who got attacked by Mama Grizzly?
Montana.
Yeah, and then got away and turned around and she was there again.
Yeah. Came
And
back
his,
for
his
seconds.
video report was, if we're thinking the same one, the
yeah.
calmest guy. He just kind of talks about, I had a shitty day. A bear attacked me and almost ate me.
Yeah, but could you
Anyway.
imagine the endorphins
Oh, yeah.
of being alive that were going through him at that moment?
Incredible.
Because his system probably flooded, thinking, we're dead. A bear's about to eat us ass first.
Yep.
And then he got away, and his system was probably just like, we're alive. Woohoo! He probably felt like he was floating as he was walking.
Well, interesting sidebar to that. So we all know that when we die, and this has pretty much been proven, when we die, your body releases a little bit of our favorite compound, DMT, to help
A little
transition.
bit. I thought it was a lot.
It is. I was being sarcastic.
Oh.
It basically floods your mind with
Yeah.
this stuff to ease the transition to death, right? Well, now they've discovered that people who have near-death experiences,
Same thing.
very much the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Right?
And that's why they
your
see the
coping
white
mechanism.
door and all
Yep.
that jazz.
All that stuff, yeah.
But and just to wrap up the whole tweet thing, she followed me, and I was 2 drinks in at this event, and I show it to Alana, and Alana, I don't hate anybody, and I don't mind Sue sharing. She's a reporter. She does her job 100% respected. But Alana she's a mama. She's a mama grizzly,
Right,
For
yes.
her kids,
Yes.
her husband, her friends. so I go, hey, check this out. Sue Sharing followed me on Twitter, and she's just like, what?
I can see that. I can picture that.
and I'm like, please don't tweet her. Please don't tweet her.
Right.
Anyway, that was just why did I talk about that? We do this a lot, Nick. I
Yeah,
don't know if you listen to
we
the show.
I
but-
remember, and I think it's because I said something to stir the pot, and that's where it went.
Oh,
Who knows?
because Sue wrote the article about the coffee
Yes,
machine
I was
and
saying
my
you'd be the
protein
perfect
shakes.
ambassador to have your own brand
Right.
of coffee. Given that, that's kind of where I was going. With
Yeah.
that. I
See,
think
this
that's-
is
yeah.
you're coming back more.
Amazing. See that?
We can
See
come to
how that
Casa
happened?
we can come to Casa de Terrio.
Well, Casa de
Yeah,
Terrio is now my recording studio, so that would actually be possible.
Did you put up the sound deadening stuff?
No, I didn't go that far because I'm actually have changed my entire recording setup to a digital method, which is
Which
incredible.
means it just feeds right into the machine?
Yeah, it means
like,
basically through an external sound card, which is also a MIDI controller, a keyboard,
Yeah,
my guitar amp simulator, everything goes right through USB, and we're talking really high quality.
Oh,
audio,
there he is.
Audio resolution.
If you guys don't know, I didn't bring enough chairs today, so Nick is actually in a recliner, and then he can't use the mic stand. So,
Yeah.
and whenever you're using your hand, we all do it, right? The mic tends to wander.
yeah,
So
I'm free balling it right now. So
Yeah, what's that?
I'm free balling it right now.
Free ball. Yeah. You're going commando.
That's right.
I'm trying to get back on track in my brain here.
We were talking studio podcast, his place.
Oh,
Yep.
Nick is what is that? What's the word? Renaissance man?
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
he is.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah. He's like Hemingway, except
about-
not as crazy. You definitely
Well, potentially. There's rumors.
he's got the beard.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say more like an
On a-
Oscar Wilde, like a
Oh.
modern day
Ooh.
Oscar Wilde. Yeah, let's go with that.
Oh wow, he's even got his preferred.
Yeah. Oh, Wilde's my jam man. He had it.
I don't know much about Wilde. Go on. Hemingway's more my flavor.
Oscar Wilde, Lord Byron, a lot of those guys were men who wrote about, who were very anti-authority and who wrote about the rise of the individual over the rise of authority, right? So a lot of them use that kind of John Milton's another perfect example. Guys
Right.
who use that kind of like almost adversarial point of view to everything, right?
Right.
And they just ended up naturally, and that's why I constantly quote anybody who knows me. And I think Jody, you've borrowed this yourself. My favorite poet is Robert Frost, and he wrote a poem called "The Road Less Traveled," which I read when I was really young. I was lucky actually, and ironically, I read it in a Punisher comic book. So this wasn't something I discovered through school. It was in a
Punisher was most of my youth.
Me too. And Punisher War Journal, #1, the entire comic book where he revisits his family's slain in Central Park, reads to the poem Robert Frost. But the gist of the poem is that some people, we all come to a fork in the road when we're, coming of age, and we decide to either go with the flow or go a little bit against the grain. I've always been against the grain. It's always how I've lived. And through that journey, I've discovered the artists, musicians, poems, and all that I really relate to. And Oscar Wilde is definitely one of them.
Well, is that the fork in the road poem?
No, that's Robert Frost. So
No, but is that the line from the poem?
yeah.
I came to a fork in the road and I took
Yeah.
the one less traveled.
Yeah.
Because
And that's
most
made
people
all the
use
difference.
just that one line, but there's a whole like.
There's a whole poem, but it can be
behind
summed
it.
up in that line
Yeah,
where,
yeah,
at the end he basically says, I took the path that way less people took,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm really happy I did because it's shown
Yeah.
me some crazy shit.
Isn't it weird though? Like most military guys that I like to hang out with are guys like us, and we're all a little bit anti-authority, but we believe 100% in the benefits of what our system brings, despite the way we push back against it.
Yeah, and I'm careful when I push back against anything to be specific.
That's the thing. I go crazy. Like, I'm the first guy to say like, hey, it's the middle of the night. There's nobody around. I'm just gonna turn right at this red light, or turn left at this red light.
Right.
Yeah,
Not gonna
yeah.
hurt anybody.
Yeah.
There's not a car for miles, right? But if I get into a parking lot and you're not in your spot, I'm like, this is the beginning of Armageddon.
That's right. The system is crumbling.
The shopping carts aren't put away. You have a micro car, and you can't stay in the fucking line to the parking spot. This is it.
That's it.
Our way of life is coming to an end.
Yep.
But like I said, it's the dichotomy of our mindset, though,
Absolutely,
right? Jocko, Rogan, most of the spec ops guys I know, we're all
Teetering on the edge.
but we get it, So anyway, go on.
Well, I think the reason is if you take things to a certain, there's a comfort zone. There's everyone's got their own comfort zones, but there's also there's a universal comfort zone too, right? And a lot of the people, and I was actually having this exact discussion yesterday. I was saying that if you look at firefighters, police officers, soldiers, those are arguably the people that kind of keep everything kind of together, right?
Paramedics, don't leave out our paramedics.
No, paramedics as well, but you'll see why they fit less into what I'm specifically talking about here. Look at a lot of those guys who graduate from those areas. Tattoos. They often have a slightly left-hand path, edgy kind of feel to them, right?
Just make love to the microphone, bro.
Yeah,
this is what I see. Like, I never take my lips off this thing, which is why this is mine.
My beard's also rubbing up against my microphone.
So does mine.
It's actually tickling me. But you look at all those guys. Those are like the pillars in terms of the infrastructure.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, and they all kind of look, not all of them, but a lot of them look at us. We're all, heavily tattooed. We're all we all do our own thing. We're all masters of our own domain. But then what's interesting is if you look at the people that form our cultural basis, artists, authors, sculptors. I'm not talking about like the cult of personality from the States. I'm talking about like people who actually contribute to culture, right?
Yep.
They also look that way. So it's really interesting to me that the people that basically keep society and culture thriving, moving forward, all choose at one point in their lives to go against the grain a little bit, right? And then those people who don't, and sort of just go with things. Both, and I strongly believe both sides are completely necessary, right? You can't have a world of rebels; it wouldn't work.
It's yin and yang. It's good guys, bad guys.
And that's what I'm at right now. If you wanted to ask me what I'm really into right now, it's embracing the duality of man. We have right now we're so polarized, right? It's ridiculous.
Are we right now, though, or are we always have been?
I think we always have been to a degree, but I think that right now we're embracing that polarity a little bit more versus saying, okay, I kind of disagree with you, but where do I agree with you? How can we make this dialogue actually happen?
See, this is the thing. We talked about this when I was still cooking. Remember? We talked about...
We started to, yeah.
Everything goes back. Oh my God! If Trump wins, if Hillary wins, it's army. Like both sides think it's the end of the world. Everything's gonna suck. We saw it here. Harper is the Antichrist, and Trudeau is the big dummy, or whatever the comparison you want to make. And then the election happens. Somebody wins, and everything's fine.
Yep.
And this is the thing to me. The Athenians. And I always say that, and I've probably said it on this podcast 19 times. The birth of democracy, which was a false democracy. Well, okay, hang on. It was for landowners only, right? So still lots of slaves, blah, blah, blah. They would rather let Athens be sacked by the Persians than agree with each other. So I think we've always been this way.
Oh, 100%. And actually, I'm really, really glad you mentioned that because we often do look to ancient Greece as the birth of democracy and all that kind of stuff. But I can give you a concrete example. The Pythagoreans, the people that follow Pythagoras, were considered at the time in Greece, which was at the time, and this is I'm talking about Republic Greece. I'm not talking about imperial, or rather, that's Rome. But I'm talking about like the early part of Greek. They looked at anyone who practiced math or astronomy, especially, as Satanists. Basically, they thought they were absolutely crazy because they were discovering science, and science wasn't known. But what that shows,
who the Athenians thought the path
very much so. They were really afraid of this emerging science because they thought it was sorcery, right? But the whole point of my mentioning this is that even back then, and at the time that happened, there was then extreme examples of either end, right? A lot of persecution, a lot of prejudice, a lot of fear, right, on both ends. But then it just kind of became a thing. And Luke, you missed this conversation, but Jody and I were talking earlier about if you look back in history at any point of social change, any sort of nexus where things really change, right? Mm-hmm. There's always a bit of an over-exaggeration on both sides of the argument for a little bit because they're both fighting for what they think is right and what they think is going to happen. And whenever that happens, it's kind of like when the leaves change in the fall. Every time the leaves change, we're like, oh my God, did you see that? Bro, did you see the leaves are orange?
Yeah. Those leaves
You
over
can be
there
80
are
years old and have lived
I
80
can see
falls.
orange leaves right there.
You're gonna say that every year, right?
That's right. That's
the
right.
same thing happens historically. Every time culture does this to us and needs a bit of change, so it stirs shit up a bit. People are like, oh my God, man, these are end times. Times are nigh.
Yeah.
But truthfully, I think it's the opposite, and I might be on the odd one out here. I think what's happening now is actually great in a way because it's stirring shit up. People are asking questions. People are actually saying what they think instead of being all diplomatic or fucking finally, being passionate about politics again. They're being passionate about world events.
Yeah.
Whether they're right or wrong, to me, I don't really care. If you're a social justice warrior or you're a right-wing guy, that's cool because you're doing shit.
Yeah.
I have way more disdain for the guy who's not doing anything, not caring, not reading his newspapers, not trying to advance his own people. I have way more disdain for him than someone who I patently agree with on a ethical level. Because at least I'm disagreeing because they feel something.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, I give the self-titled social justice warriors a lot of shit because of the extreme end of them, which is always the most vocal.
Of course, yeah.
Basically, everything that they don't want you to be able to say gets shoved into a trigger warning, and then they I declare this a safe space, and now there's no debate allowed. But you can't get somewhere without that extreme.
Thank you. And
right? And so it's like Trudeau saying, why'd you make half of cabinet women when only 36% of the House is women? And he went, I'm more right than left. And I was a little disappointed in my people when they mocked this, but he went, it's 2015. And everybody goes, oh, it's 2015. Well, you know what, though? It's fucking 2015 or it's 2016, right? But my pushback against certain parts of that, and I get this with my mom a lot, and my sister, who we don't even really talk anymore because of a lot of this, and we talked about this on the last show a little bit because for whatever reason, the Jody Mitic podcast always goes down this fucking road.
Yes,
we want to bro out and talk about cars and motorcycles, but I think because of our age and the positions we all hold in life, we're all fathers to dot. Well, you're a stepfather to a girl who will be a woman. But where I push back on it is like, okay, what does it mean when you say only 30% of Canadian mayors are women? What do you mean only? Like when you say it like that, you go, oh, because I'm a member of Equal Voices, and it's a political it's a nonpartisan political think tank / advocacy group for women in politics, right? And hey man, I got 2 daughters,
really cool.
right?
Yeah,
no, and I've always when I joined the Army, there was women.
Yep.
Right? It wasn't a shock. Alana joined before I did.
Yep.
But my point is, though, I was at one of their events, and the director gets up and says, only 30% of Canadian mayors are women, so we got some work to do there. And I'm like, well, hang on, what does that mean? Why does that number matter in the context of the time we're in? Because we know, and this is the argument I got in with my mom about this, because how did that argument start? We were both saying the exact... Oh, it was the doula thing. Remember when I talked about that on the show?
Yeah. The male doula. That's right.
There are certain jobs in the world that the majority of men or women simply don't want to do. Infantry being one of them. Remember that general?
Yes.
30% of the combat arms will be women by 1999 or whatever it was. And the recruiters went out and they recruited all these women, and a bunch of them showed up at basic training and went, what the fuck do you want me to do now? This is not something I enjoy.
Yeah.
Right.
90% of them just went, yeah, can I just go be a medic or a cook or a clerk or a signaler? Something where I don't do the majority of the job is living in a hole and getting rained on.
Right.
Because I'm a girl, or I should say girl, I'm a woman. I'm just not into that stuff.
Yeah.
And everybody went, oh yeah. A couple of hardcore women made it through.
Yep.
because there are women that like to do that work.
Yeah.
Just like, go in the reverse. This is where I was arguing with my mom.
Yeah.
I said, how many male midwives are there? Probably not that many, because dudes just tend to not be into that.
Yeah.
And she went, and this is where the conversation got funny. She goes, wouldn't matter. I wouldn't hire him anyway.
Right.
And I went, oh, my mom, the sexist.
I see what's going
on. And she
on
went,
here.
what? I'm not sexist. And I'm like, what if I said that about, I wouldn't call a woman cop because she's a woman.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you'd lose your mind.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All that needs to be in place for that whole discussion is as long as the choice is there. If you're whatever you are, you want to do it.
There
do
it is.
Now,
anything more than that is unnecessary and complicates things.
well, this is the thing. This is where, because we're all white men, straight white men, we lose a bit of
Perspective.
No, I don't think so. Everyone has a perspective, but
100%. But I could never ever expect a woman to like be able to describe my daily existence the way that I could if I
yeah,
was looking at it
but
from a
why
different
why would you be expected to describe hers?
I wouldn't be.
That's one of the things I hate the most from
But I
anybody about anything. You have no idea, blah blah. And you're right. I have no idea about anything any of you have done or been through, because I'm me, and I don't. Because I get this because of my injuries. Oh man, yeah, I never went through anything like you did, but and I go, well, hang on, man, pain's pain,
Yeah.
and change sucks no matter who you are. Don't discount what you went through.
Well, I would never discount it, but I think there's room for both to exist. I think.
But this is where I keep coming back to, and this is the one thing Luke and I talked about real quick in the last podcast. It's 2016, team people.
Yeah.
From this line forward, team
right.
people, and if you run fair elections, and if only 36% of the people who go out are women, well, then I guess that's just what happens. I ran against 4 women, and there was 9 of us running, and I won. Now, does that mean it's a sexist system, or is it just that I was more popular and I won? You know what I mean? Like that's where that discussion starts to get when you apply things like systematic and white dominance and male dominance and the patriarchy, and it's like, yes, it was like that, and I'm not saying it's not all different, but at some point we have to accept that I ran and I won.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean
absolutely
people hate women.
Sometimes it just is.
In any given day, I'll tell you guys a little secret. You guys probably don't know this about me. On any given day, I'm usually called 2 things at least once. At least once a day, because I comment a lot on news articles. Right? I'm called a social justice warrior, which I had actually never heard of, and that.
Get out of my house.
But in the same breath, I'll also be called whatever the opposite to that would be. There's less of an available buzz term right now, but it's there.
Right.
Redneck or whatever you want to call it, right?
Usually it's racist or sexist,
But
whatever
in my
you're
case,
commenting on.
It couldn't be, but just because my views are pretty far on that end. But the fact that I can get called both those things means there's a real differential in what people consider. And one of my biggest pet peeves, and I've posted about this recently, is buzzwords. No one should use them because they recontextualize words. Any buzzwords on both sides. Okay, so I'll use both.
Give me one.
Social justice warrior is actually safe space is actually the best example of a buzzword.
Okay, great, because this is what I go crazy about. Because by definition, I'm probably a social justice warrior too.
You are, and this is what I want to get to. This is exactly it. And what I've discovered, at first I was kind of bothered because I'm like, I don't really feel like I fit in. And then I realized, no. It's just I have a certain value system that is undeniable that will transcend these trends and these buzzwords. And it's really not definable. Right now, it can be defined a certain way by a certain group of people if what I say at that particular point in time they don't like what's available.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't like. So safe space is actually a thing. There's actually and I didn't know anything. I'd never heard the term until I started dating Melissa, who works in a university.
Right.
And she explained to me, that room, there's a room somewhere where we were. And she said, that's a safe space for this community. And I said, what's that? She said, they've rented this room out and they could go there and they have discussions. I said, what's a safe space? So she said, it's this. And she couldn't quite do it justice. So she actually showed me what the university definition of it was. And it was pretty innocuous. It's a room that's rented by a group of people and anyone can go into it. It's just there's certain rules about going into it. that they've established. But they're just private people renting private room to do private shit.
Right.
But what happened is that the people who tend to do that tend to belong to a certain social layer. So I'll say academic left-wing kind of people, right? Who inherently will bring a lot of people from different countries. They'll bring a lot of people from different niches like socialists and so on and so forth, right? So because those same kinds of people are doing the same kind of thing, eventually that word started being used badly by both sides. So there's nothing wrong with a safe space because it has got nothing to do with anyone. It's the only people that are going to be in there are people that are choosing to be in there.
Right.
Right. It's not like they're not going to go into your house or your building and say this is now my safe space because that's not how it works.
Well, actually, they do that.
They don't really. Not the real. A real safe space isn't. That's not how. It
No,
works.
no. But what they do is they use the term safe space to shut down
Yes, but that's
discussion
not-
and debate.
Yeah.
And they'll do it in a square. They'll do it. Remember what's that video where was it Harvard? No. Berkeley, I believe it was, where the social justice warrior teacher
Yeah.
was telling the reporter, who was a student reporter, hey, you can't film here. This is a safe space out in the middle of the campus,
Right.
in the open, under the sky. And then she was like, I need some people over here. I need some security. She was getting a couple guys to come over and take this guy's camera because she decided it's a safe space.
Yes, but that doesn't mean it's a safe space.
No, no.
You
I
what
know.
I'm saying?
But that's where
Yeah.
these people lose all their credibility. And now I think the wave is starting to break on this because, like we said, right, you can't get to somewhere without some extreme.
No.
And the extreme is now starting to break because now folks like us mostly are starting, and even just regular people, because like you were saying, so we go against the grain at points where we feel we have to.
Exactly.
And like for me, I want you to park properly and put your cart away because we all have this much of a responsibility in how we live in Canada. Because you and I have been to places where they don't take that responsibility and it's chaos and it's dirt roads and it's not a medical system and the cops will beat you up, blah, blah. Well, not okay. You can get beat up by the cops here, but if you call the cops,
Yes.
they will definitely beat you up and rob you after you've been beaten up and robbed. And I don't want that because that's my biggest fear is that I'm a social change. It's 2015, all great stuff, but there's a point where I go, okay, well, this type of behavior could end the paradise we have. But take safe space to the extreme.
Yep.
Well, hang on, now we're talking about fascism, and
Exactly.
dictatorship. And what do you mean I can't say that word? Hang on, that's not the free country I live in.
Yeah, it's being abused.
You can't tell me how to think unless I'm saying hateful, hurtful. Now, hurtful to you is not hurtful to the group.
Right.
So if I call you an asshole,
Yep.
you can't say, well, you're a sexist because I'm a woman. No. You're an asshole, even if you're a woman.
Sure.
And just like, so that's where those words get turned into weapons. But that's where I push back is where like I go, well, no. We can't tell each other how to think or talk.
No, but I think, and this is where I get the dual labeling a lot. I would never ever tell someone how to speak, but I do think we can do better. And I'll give you an example.
Touche, because I say the same thing.
Asshole is the perfect word to use. Do you know why?
Because it's transgender.
Everybody's going. But think of it this way.
It's all colors. It's all races.
Humor me
It's
for
all
2 seconds here.
sexes.
So humor me for 2 seconds. So these are the words that I'm called if I come to the defense in any way, even minutely, to any left-wing cause. These are the words. And there's a commonality. Pussy, bitch, faggot.
Yeah.
Or
You're too feminine.
Or are you a woman? Now,
What? Hang on.
Vaginas-
What are you commenting on?
I comment a lot on like the news and shit.
Hey,
like
wait
that,
a
right?
minute here.
But get this. This is what I find funny. So
I'm gonna
basically,
start following Nick on Facebook. more.
5
Yeah, for
dudes.
sure.
So 5 angry white dudes just called me a woman. So in other words, the most insulting, anger-filled insult
Why-
they could throw my way was a variation of a woman's vagina.
Why does it matter that they're white?
What Well, it doesn't actually matter. But that's just how, well, you know, it doesn't matter. But I didn't mention it because it
I
matters.
didn't know you're a
It's a
racist, bro.
fact.
Just saying.
It's a fact, right? That's just who tends to respond in that way.
Right.
In my opinion.
Black dudes talk like that a lot.
Everybody talks like that. But I'm saying
Touche.
the people
Yeah, everybody.
who respond. And this is this-
Sorry,
to
that
those-
mindset
yeah.
tends to be
Yeah.
you're a woman if you're
If
weak.
You're
You're a weak woman.
If you're a weak person, you're a feminine person. If you're a strong person, you're a masculine person.
Right,
now,
right.
I'm not ever going to tell that dude not to think like that. But I might push for his kids to be educated in such a way that they think talking like that's a bad way. Because I think it is. I think we can do better as a society. I have a little girl. I think she's awesome, like every dad does. And I feel that part of my job as her dad is to kind of prep the world for her to really come into, right, when she becomes an adult. And I think that it's really easy. No one's got to like break their brain or work hard or go back to school or really do anything different to just change their language up a little bit, to be a little bit less specific.
Were we talking about how we talked in the Army on?
Yeah.
That was before we turned the mics on.
Yeah.
100%. Like you know that movie 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Yeah.
Right? And like how we talked in the Army when we were kids. Full disclosure, we would say a lot of slang for gays.
Yeah.
So, and the reason I bring up that movie is, remember that scene where they're playing video games? It's like, I know you're gay.
Yeah.
You couldn't make a movie like that today.
Oh yeah.
No.
That's right.
And that's good.
Yes.
That's the way I want it. And I think back to myself and I'm like, oh, I'm such a dick.
Yeah.
I've
right.
never had hate or cared if someone was gay or straight or bi or trans.
I
It's
don't
never
think
been an issue in
a
my
lot
brain.
of people like us, I think one of the reasons we struggle with prejudice is we've never really had it because we do go against the grain, so we don't buy into a lot of the Kool-Aid that people are selling.
Sorry, we don't get prejudice? What do you mean?
We don't. I think people like yourself and I, and the people we were sort of talking about, we tend to not have ever really looked at people in the way that prejudiced people do. You know what I mean? I don't think we've ever.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So when we see it, we almost kind of.
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
And I'll make judgments about people. And we all know, like, Russell Peters, I was just listening to him on Rogan's podcast. He made a whole career out of making fun of the stereotypes
That's right.
of people.
Yeah.
And those are just fun, right?
Yeah,
but it's never been how I judge anybody. Because my dad, he's a part German, part Slavic immigrant. One of the guys you'd think might have gone the hard way, the bad way. When you think a lot of the attitudes from over there. He was like, never talk about someone like that. Never do this. Never I would say something as a kid, and he'd be like, "Yeah, you can't say that about people." I'd be like, "What?" And it would kind of weird me out.
Yeah.
Like, why did my dad tell me that? But as I got older, this is a value system, and but my dad is no bullshit. If he thinks you're fucked up, he will tell you, you're fucked up, and he doesn't care who you are, what you look like, or where you're from. He'll give you the straight answers that in his opinion are what you need to hear. Because he's always, hey son, you might be a politician, but I'm the guy. He hates that I do this podcast, by the way, just so you know. Oh yeah. What's up, Pop? He's like, I'll be the guy who's always telling you the way it is, not someone kissing your ass and this and that. And but I think sometimes he just tells you the opposite just to be the guy who told you the opposite.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway,
The devil's advocate kind of.
yeah. But anyway, kind of got off course there. Sorry. Nick, how long have we been talking? 43 minutes already, and we haven't said a goddamn thing.
That's right.
About anything except our philosophy on life.
Well, let's talk about Jody 3.0. I think that's something people
Can
would
we
like
just
to hear
skip
about.
that part?
We can.
Oh, so you were supposed to say no, Jody.
But I'm here for that purpose, so we should probably.
Well, I wanted the folks, because we had our podcast that was unfortunately lost to the ether when your hard drive crashed, and we lost a microphone. What else happened?
Life happened, my friend. Life happened.
The instruction manual for the Zoom disappeared.
I found.
I knew you'd find it. I fucking knew you'd find it.
It was in the weirdest of places. It was in one of my old gym bags, one I haven't used in a while, at the very bottom under some books.
So weird.
I'm like, what is this? I'm like, holy shit.
But hang on.
Did
It was
the
in a
dog put it
Ziploc
there?
bag with the Zoom.
Yes, but then it entered my domain, And for listeners who don't know, I suffer from a variety of sometimes hilarious mental health issues, which often involve me losing things or placing things in areas they never belonged.
But why would you ever separate them without Luke and I there?
Jody, no one will
Did you
ever know
use
that.
did you use the Zoom to record a song or something?
No.
See, that's the thing. If
there's
you
no
had
answer.
used it
Yeah.
when we weren't around, I'd get it. But you're like, I never touch it unless you're here.
I also vaporized the microphone, and we still have never found that microphone.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't find the microphone?
Never.
I was waiting for that. He'd be like,
Yeah,
I
no.
have the microphone right here. I
Nope.
forgot. Huh.
God.
No, it's
Anyway, so we had our podcast, and like you said, life happened. You moved. Luke, was this when Forrest was born?
Yeah.
Ish. So you weren't as available. So we all just kind of did our thing, and now we're back together, and I'm
Yeah.
loving it. But okay, let's talk about Jody 3.0.
Yep.
You, Luke, started me along the path. Like when Luke first met me, like I wasn't fat, but by my personal view of myself, I think I still am. And you two have helped me go further than I think I ever could have alone. And there's lots of people that have helped me. Don't get me wrong, but when I made the concerted effort, I'm actually going to change. That's when I bought a bunch of training sessions with you, Luke. Right?
Yep. That's right.
And then when we met,
Yep.
and you did your show, and I'm like, okay, well, if I'm ever going to fit in my old pants again, let's just go to that extreme, right? Like we were just talking about for social change.
That's right.
You got to go to an extreme
To
sometime.
arrive at a baseline that is satisfactory.
Doesn't mean you stay there.
No.
But, for me, about to be 40, to get back into my 32, 34-inch jeans, you gotta go to that extreme.
Well, it's like anything. You overshoot, if you overshoot, you're gonna land somewhere way better than if you undershot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I also think that that's your personality style too.
It is entirely. And when there's
Can't help it.
I'll put this out right there. I'm currently not really actively coaching, right? Because I've got some other stuff going on. I actually have a few new things that I may have time to announce today or may not. But someone like Jody comes up to you and says, I want to do a show. Two things. They're going to do it. They're going to finish what they start because they're finishers. And that's when Jody ever feels a little down on himself. I always remind him, when have you ever failed? Like when has a newspaper ever
Fail
said,
all the
he's-
time,
yeah,
but
in your
not
mind.
finish?
Not finish, never, right? You do things. You're a doer. And that's the thing.
I'm a
there's just
doer.
doers. Not everybody's a doer. And when it comes to bodybuilding shows, if you're not 110% a doer, you will not have a good time. This is a lifestyle. This overtakes every aspect of your life for a temporary period of time. And mentally, it can be a real mind fuck.
Well,
it's not
anything
fun.
else happening in life, work, kids, relationship, business, whatever, and your mind, daily, I'm sitting there going, can I afford this?
Mm-hmm. And that's
And
only going to get more intense as we go on.
We're down to the last 40 days.
Yeah, so the last
And-
40 days are your true test.
Right. But you made me lift my shirt.
Yep.
Because you always ask me for pictures, and I always go, oh, yeah, tomorrow, bro, for sure. And then I don't, and then I apologize. And you went, and I'm like, I was cringing, eh?
Yeah.
I was like a guy cutting the wire on a bomb, and I'm lifting my shirt.
Was it blue or was it green?
And Nick goes, yeah, cool, right on.
Yep. Yeah, because we know what to look for. That's why you hire a coach, right? You hire a coach basically so that you don't have to worry about, because you got so much mental sort of turmoil going on that you can't afford to be thinking about, okay, what do I need to do now? Someone needs to be able to tell you, just do this and chill.
Yeah.
And that's really what you're paying for. Even I'm sure Luke, as a personal trainer, you'll agree that's really what personal trainer clients are really paying for: accountability.
Yeah.
And just to have that burden taken off their shoulders.
Yeah,
Just do as you're
for
told.
sure. I wouldn't have started going to the gym at 5 a.m. if I wasn't paying you to be there.
Nope,
Yep.
of course not.
Right? And there was a few times where I had to pay him, but I wasn't there.
Oh yeah.
And I
know
was
all
like-
about that game. Yeah, I know that life.
Right, but it got me back into that
Yep.
routine, and this show has helped me return to a more regimented thinking style, which I need because of my ADD and stuff, but also my staff have even noticed, and we get a lot done in my office, but Tammy, the general, she did not mess with Tammy in my office, by the way, if you ever come by. She said one day, she goes, boss, you're really, I can see it.
Yeah.
She's like, you're writing way more stuff down. You're doing the follow up that you do before, but now it's way more consistent and way more detailed.
when you work out, especially when you work out really in a lifestyle sort of context, your hormonal profile is highly productive. It's you've basically told your body, I need to become a machine. So your body does really everything through hormones. Right? Hormones are massively important. And even Joe Rogan once on a podcast he did on a link between a proper hormonal environment and depression. The links are clear. If your hormones...
That show is the reason I got my test tested.
That's right. And
I
that
went
show
on
is something
TRT because of that episode.
In my opinion, every man, and this is my professional opinion, or any man over the age of 35 years old needs to sit down, Google Joe Rogan's podcast, and I'm really sorry I don't have the name of the physician he speaks with, but basically it comes down to this. We are dispensing insane amounts of different medications to treat mental illness. We may only, in the end, need to be looking at these people's hormonal profiles and making adjustments on the hormonal level before. We may very well need to go into medicine, but we may not. I know for myself, if my hormones, especially my testosterone, is on point, everything's good to go, I'm a way more productive, happier, healthier person on many levels. A lot of people have a negative association with testosterone, and it
blows my mind.
It's a really, really destructive attitude because low testosterone in men can result in things like, obviously the obvious stuff, the sexual dysfunction and all that, but diabetes, type 2 diabetes, huge marker, huge.
But also, but going to the mental health thing, if you're having sexual dysfunction, depressed.
Oh yeah.
If if you're not performing at work, depressed.
Our hormones define us. They define our genders. They define our personalities. They have massive impacts on everything we do.
Because and you hear that, and Joe Rogan's show is really good for this, and it's one of the reasons that I kept listening to it all these years is that he doesn't just talk about fights and comedy, right? He brings in these people that you then look up and you go, okay, well, let me apply this and try it. Because he brought in a guy the other day. He was talking about like he's a doctor, he's an MD, and the first thing he does is he'll prescribe meds.
Yep.
But he goes, well, because they'll come in and someone will say, I have this, I need this drug because of the commercials, and he'll go, oh yeah, maybe, but I'm going to give you this script for blood work. And then he'll go through it and be like, oh, well, you're low on this vitamin, you're low on that mineral, your test is low, or your estrogen is low, whoever. And he goes, we'll fix that. And then if that doesn't make you feel better, then we'll give you the meds. Yep. And I think way more of us have to consider that.
Oh, 100%.
And the healthcare system, not the one that pushes the stuff onto us, which is the industry, but in Canada, we pay 52% of our national budget goes to healthcare, and it climbs every year. It goes up another incremental percentage point. So there should be a big buy-in from the system that pays for healthcare to have us do this holistic, top to bottom, left to right look at how you're feeling.
Absolutely.
And it blows my mind, right? Because the healthcare ministers were just having another conference, and this never comes up. And you talk to a lot of doctors, and they're like, yeah, okay.
And we have to ask ourselves why it never comes up, because what we're doing, one of the main reasons our healthcare costs are going up, other than inflation and population increase, is we are creating an entire culture of drug addicts by overprescribing opiates. Now, this is a personal rant of mine, but I believe, and when I was in the military, I could stub my toe and I'd be offered OxyContin. I'm not even kidding.
When was that?
This was probably mid 2000s, 2008.
Yeah,
9.
100%.
Right? I could literally stub my toe.
But that's when OxyContin was being sold as non-addictive.
Oh yeah, but they would push that, right? Now, I'm going to be straight up. I'm a legal marijuana user, and I now use zero prescription medication and almost never take even over-the-counter meds anymore because I don't need to. Cannabis has, for me at least, really helped me on several levels, right? But in discovering marijuana, I've also discovered the industry behind medicine and the industry behind the fear of things that make us feel good. Things that make us feel good are just verboten right now. There's a taboo surrounding it, right?
It's not right now.
Well, true.
The war on drugs has been since the 20s or 30s or
whatever. And what I'm seeing is a lot of my old Army buddies not doing so good because they're on a massive amount of meds. But the ones that are doing well, and I mean, I'm obviously talking about vets who have specific issues that this would help. But those who have turned to marijuana, I mean, they are feeling a lot better. Look for
Yeah.
Marijuana for Trauma, which is an incredible organization, opening dispensaries up specifically aimed at veterans. And I can guarantee you're going to see if this is pushed, if this kind of education is pushed on veterans while they're in the military.
Right.
What do you mean by education, though? Not about marijuana.
Oh yeah, I know what you're thinking. That'll never happen. But until it does, until we take that giant stick out of our ass and realize that this is not a scary thing, it's certainly a lot less scary than the self-medicating being done on base with alcohol and drugs and all that kind of stuff. You know, I think you'd see a decline in suicides. I really, really, really do.
When the new minister took over Veterans Affairs, he was like, "Why are we giving out so much pot?
Yeah.
I want to study."
Yep.
And everybody's like, "Oh shit!" They did the study, and they went, "Yeah, you know what? We keep giving out more pot, but you know what else happens? Way less prescription drugs."
Boom.
There you go.
And somebody went, "Well, that's a problem."
Of course, someone.
And so the department now is examining. Now, the reaction initially from the minister was kind of like, "Well, that's kind of neat," sort of like in the way that he doesn't really say too much, but then, the lobbyists kicked in, and this, and the mindset of most people kicked in and went, "Well, hang on, we can't let this continue." I think it'll continue personally because the customer, the veterans, are saying, "Well, I'd rather smoke a joint or two a day, or vape, or eat a cookie, or whatever, however they get it, than take 5 or 6 or 10 different pills." And you hear that too from the family and friends of guys that are super on edge PTSD.
Yes.
They'll be like, "Yeah, I couldn't get him on the phone and this and that. Finally, I went to his house, kicked in the door, and we took him home or whatever we did. But, we grabbed his meds, and there was bags and bags of this and bottles of that. And one for this, and we didn't even know how to give it to him. Like, he was we were like, "What's this for?" And he's like, "I don't know." They're just the system just keeps throwing pills. And then you get them away from that stuff. You get them in the gym maybe, or you get them eating better. You give them a few joints. And within a year or so, totally different person.
Absolutely. But
And that's the other problem. Everybody wants instant reaction. Right? And so I want the pill. Okay, I don't feel better yet. What's going on?
Yeah, it's been 33 seconds. I should be perfect.
100%.
Why am I not super productive with a boner? What's going on?
Yeah, that's
Fear,
right.
man. It's fear. I'm telling you right now. Fear is what sets us back as a culture on every level. And right now, we're dealing with a world that's got a lot of fear, and they're afraid of pot.
I don't think we're dealing with a world that's any different, though.
Well, I do think that the instruments by which we can propagate fear are a little bit better now. We can get fear. We can pump
That's the thing.
fear
That's-
out there in a way more effective
100%.
manner than ever before.
Bro, the reason you're seeing more, the people think it's the worst time ever, is because there's more delivery systems.
Because trust me, if we had cameras back in the Roman gladiator days and they could stream that shit to your TV, you'd think we were a bunch of fucking savages. Way more
Well,
than
they
you
were
ever would now.
savages.
They were, of course, they were.
you'd
But
be
you know what I'm saying?
horrified.
Like,
But even there was an article.
there have been darker times.
There's been a bunch of articles in the States, despite the media.
Bias.
No, fuck's sakes, Jody's brain work. The narrative. Sorry, the narrative of the media and the left. Gun ownership is actually down in the States, and crime is down.
Right.
Right, like and still going down. Violent crime, like gun crime and murder, is going down every single year. But every time
we hear
something
about
happens,
every incident.
now we have had a few extreme incidences in the last few years. Pretty sure though, you could probably go back and find similar incidences that just were underreported because. Before the local paper, maybe the state or provincial or regional news would pick it up and it might make it out. CNN might or CBC might have broadcasted it that night on the national for a minute or two or mentioned it in the headlines today, and then it's gone.
That's right.
But now everybody sees everything through all the feeds. And then if you want, hey, remember that thing? Oh, man, you go back and you see it again. It happened 5 years ago. Like, look at Trump now. He's getting blasted for something he said 11 years ago.
That's right.
Billy Bush lost his job.
It's there forever now. Yeah.
But because you can go back and get it. And it feels the same watching it, even if it was 5 years ago, as if it was happening right now.
For sure.
You know, so I think we've always been crazy. We just have and they say it's the safest time on the planet.
Yes.
You're least likely to be killed by a human being than at any other time in history, even if you live in ISIS-controlled territory. No comfort to those guys anyway, but the narrative is that the world's on the edge of Armageddon. And I'm more like, no, I think we're good.
I feel that the world is on the edge of something. I don't think it's Armageddon. I think we're on the verge of a huge cultural shift. I think that there's going to be a lot of talk. I know a lot of people that are going back. They're either completely secularizing themselves or they're going back to a more spiritual life. I think that's a huge part of it too. And I think that's the real revolution that's happening. That's what I'm seeing kind of behind the scenes. A lot of noise around it, but I think ultimately that's what's happening. And it happens. It happens it actually happens rather predictably. These things happen. We go through, we rediscover things.
The world's always on the edge of something. And that's the thing.
It's called flux.
Yeah.
A river, right? A river is never the same river twice.
Thoughts with Nick Terrio.
Right?
That's right.
And that's where it's ironic because that's actually where that metaphor comes from. But it's true, right? Like things are always, I think the only reason is that right now, maybe there's a little bit more of an interest to change. There's more people that are getting involved in it.
Well, that's the dichotomy of these little supercomputers in our pocket.
That's right.
We can see how shitty we're being to each other.
Yep.
And that's why things like safe spaces come up and are tried to people. I get it. I'm not saying you're a dictator if you think this way. You really want the world to be better.
Yeah.
And I believe you.
100%. Yeah.
But it will never be perfect.
No.
And that's the one mindset that you got to get rid of, but you need to put that into your thinking process, right? Mm-hmm. But that's why I think the internet will eventually unite man, or make us the Borg.
Yeah.
Which depending on how you look at it, same thing.
I think it's going to be a tool, and we're going to use it however we're going to use it. But I think it has the potential to do either.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, but that's what I'm like. We were saying, it's good here.
Yeah.
Eventually, it'll be good in Syria.
Exactly.
And the next ISIS in 100 or 200 years, whenever the complete takeover of the world of internet happens, and somebody will be, looking at their phone, whether they're a redneck or a Muslim extremist, and they'll be yelling into the camera or talking about beating somebody up or killing, and the whole world will come down on and be like, "Hey, bro, chill out. What are you talking about?
Yep.
Just have a latte and relax."
Yep.
And maybe that's what we need, right? But there's always going to be those minds that look at Rome and the aquifers and the fountains and the library full of knowledge and the markets full of food and go, "We're burning this bitch down."
Yep.
Right.
Just because what's that line from Batman?
Ever dance with the devil while?
No.
The
newer one.
Some
Alfred.
men just want to watch the world burn.
Right.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
He would rob the pay trains of the diamonds and then throw them away.
Yeah.
And Batman says, "Well, why was he robbing them?" And because some men just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
And that's it. And how did we get on this when we were talking about my bodybuilding show?
I know, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is gonna be. By the way, this show is a three-peat for Jody Podcast this week.
That's right.
Because Scotty O'Rourke on Facebook on my Facebook page said, what did he say? I thought I was hallucinating when I saw a second show this week.
Right.
Let's get a three-peat going.
Nice.
I might be combining two comments.
Okay.
But Scotty O'Rourke for sure said
He kicked it
he
off.
wants a three-peat.
Right.
And I read that, and that's when I texted you.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's get Nick.
Yeah.
Let's get Nick down here.
Scotty.
This is for you, Scotty. But anyway, back to
3.0.
3.0. Yeah, so what we were talking about before we went on air is that I'm not worried either, sort of, but I can't help but think how good it could have been.
Absolutely. And one thing that
Because I've had some serious sidetracking.
Oh, massively. And I'll tell you what, like,
Is that normal though?
No.
Am I any different than
Well-
than most of the people that get into this? Besides, But I mean, like, is my experience that much different?
Yes.
Oh.
It is. But but that's okay.
See, if I do anything, I go big, folks. I don't do anything halfway.
Just for people to be able to contextualize Jody's experience properly, typically when a person commits to a bodybuilding show, they sort of almost have to put their entire lives aside for like 6 months. Jody can't do that. Jody's got a job with real responsibility. Not that people's responsibilities aren't real, but Jody has certain responsibilities he was elected to fulfill, and he has to do them. He also released a book, which is, he has a certain amount of responsibility to his publisher. So his experience is not the
kids.
same. He's got kids, family, But on top of all that, you've got some serious things that do set you apart. You can't. But what I'm really anxious to see, and I think it's going to be a good thing, is I'm preaching balance now the way I've never preached it before. People go to bodybuilding shows like, no balance. One of the slogans in that whole fitness is no balance, no sleep. But you know what? No.
I want to sleep, bro.
Fuck that shit.
What do you mean no? What do they mean no sleep?
What they're trying to say is...
Hang on, no. Are we talking like... Are we talking the trench... what's that guy? Or Branch
Warren?
Branch Warrens of the world?
We're talking
that
about,
dude's pretty intense.
Yeah, but what's happened is even the freaking Good Life gym industry now, there's this whole mentality of you gotta just like work. You gotta put in work, and every second of every day to get what you want. And they'll obsess on one
all
thing.
hustle.
You know what I mean? It's the all hustle entrepreneur of today, which they don't really do much.
Excuse
they
me?
talk a lot.
They talk a lot.
Hashtag all hustle.
Thank you.
Hashtag.
Yep.
Can't stop, won't stop.
But
grind.
The reason I'm gonna let you guys
rise and grind.
I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret as
Yeah.
to why a lot of those athletes can do that.
Yeah.
Because they're kids in school, no jobs, and they don't actually have the other responsibilities of real people.
Yeah.
What I think is way more impressive is when someone like yourself says, you know what, I'm going to do a bodybuilding show, but listen, I can't just let go of certain things, so we're just going to do the best we can do with what we got.
Yeah.
That's a way cooler human experience to me than I'm going to just become one thing. Because you know what? If you only do one thing, you're fucking boring. Right?
Well, we've
Do
talked
more
about
things.
that. We've talked about that. Every guy sees the movie Jason Bourne and wants to be Jason Bourne. You know how boring it'd be to hang out with Jason Bourne?
Yep.
He'd be reading weapons manuals all day, studying Chinese and practicing his Krav Maga. He'd be like, hey, man, you want to go get a beer and watch a game? What's baseball? Oh, yeah, dude, we can't hang out anymore, right? Like if you hang out with a Buddhist monk in a temple on top of a mountain, cool for a week, maybe. But then you're like, hey, so what'd you think about that Clinton-Trump debate? Who are those people?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't catch that.
So I appreciate what you're saying, because when you did your show, you were a ghost.
Yep. I literally lived for it.
And no offense, bro, you're hard enough to get a hold of as it is. When you're not bodybuilding.
Yep.
No big deal. We're all busy. I'm the same. I miss texts and calls and stuff. But when you were in your show, it was like, does Nick Terrio actually exist anymore?
Yeah. And you know how you could tell I existed? By the plethora of the exact same picture I would post on Instagram every fucking day. This is my body. This is my body.
Hey, look at me, everybody. I'm awesome.
And you know what? When I did that, I'm not going to lie, I had almost 10,000 followers.
And then you deleted.
And then I said, fuck this, because this is fake.
Yeah,
Deleted it. Now I've got a little quaint Instagram account with 50, maybe 100 followers. But
I'm one.
I
found you not because you told me you're on Instagram.
No.
I think you liked one of my pictures. And I went,
that's right.
Hey,
that was me telling you I'm on Instagram.
touche.
Now, way less followers. But you know what? I like yesterday.
You were 10,000 real followers too. You didn't buy
I didn't buy them. I had 10,000 real followers. But you know what I have now? I got 110 people who want to know what I'm doing. Yesterday I posted a picture of me standing in a crop circle. The day before I posted a picture of me and my dog. The day before that I posted a picture of me recording music. You know what's different? Those are three totally different topics, but that's my life. That's what I am now. I'm a bunch of different things. I'm not just one guy who stands on stage for 30 seconds going,
I gotta be honest.
Awesome.
You did look amazing.
Thank you.
But the part I don't get about the daily ab shot, and they've proven that a like on Facebook or Instagram is the same as not the same, but it's the same chemical reaction in your brain as if you throw a spear and hit a deer. But it's on a very minute.
Yeah.
Right? If you do that, it's a flood. It's yeah. But when you do it on face, when someone likes you on Instagram, you get like a micro dose of that. right? And that's why it becomes addictive. It actually is an addictive thing to get love on social media. Okay, so, but if you're doing a show, right,
Yep.
where you're going to go and be judged,
Yep.
why are you putting the product out before you're on stage? Like, that's why people have, hey, can you show us what you're looking like? And I'm
Yep.
like,
Nope.
no, I'm happy to post from the gym or pre-gym, post-gym. Shirt's going to be on.
Yep.
I've had a, they talk about, I've had a bit of a complex about being shirtless in public most of my life.
Yeah.
Because I have, still to this day, have a lot of acne. When I was a kid, my back and my face. But also, in my mind, men always should have abs.
Right. Yeah.
Right, and huge chest muscles and traps, because I read too many comic books and watched too many Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, right? And if I don't feel like I'm there, I don't want to show it off. But my point, going back to if you're going to go up on stage and it's your job or you're a sponsored person, you're like giving it away for free.
Yeah.
And that's the part I don't get about that whole little industry.
Well, remember, bodybuilding, with some exceptions, and this is the fitness industry right now in its state as a whole, draws two people, I think, more than anyone else. Narcissists and
100%.
people with extreme low self-esteem. If you take either of those conditions to their ultimate, if you deconstruct both those conditions to their basic level, it's an acute dissatisfaction with the current state.
Right.
So you basically got two large groups of people walking around hating what they have. That's a super unhealthy way to live, right? When you add a bit of balance to this, when you accept that, okay, I'm into this, but I'm also into this, this, and this, it divides your soul a bit through different things and makes it less almost painful to be, not happy with who you are. 'Cause you got other things to fall on. If you put all your eggs in one basket, no matter what that basket is, you're setting yourself up for failure, because no basket can hold you forever.
That's a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Wow, maybe a poster.
Yeah.
With a kitten and a basket hanging from a branch.
I want it to
It's
be a Google
something for
search in like 100 years when people are searching Nick Terrio quotes. And,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's like in quotes with like this old black and white picture of me next to it.
That'd be awesome.
That's what I want.
Yeah. Anyway, so the experience has been, and I've talked about this a lot, it's been great. The last 40 days are a little intimidating. We did push the show to the right by 20-ish days.
Yep.
And I feel like that was a good move.
Huge.
And I got to be honest, I did do a Google search about a show in December.
Right.
But the goal is before I'm 40.
Yeah.
And also, if you keep pushing right, we all work better with a deadline.
Yep.
I had to give a speech yesterday at the event I was going to. Driver was picking us up at 5. I finished the speech on the computer at 4:54. Spent 4 minutes trying to save it because my iCloud wasn't working.
The cloud.
I was going to just put it on my phone.
Yeah.
So I was trying to airdrop it to my phone. Of course, why would that work?
No.
Right?
Of course not.
Found out. So I tweeted Apple Care, by the way. They tweeted me back. Hey, bro, go on DMs.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, cool. They've been
is
explaining a whole lot of why this phone does some of what it does.
Wow.
Part of it is that I have an exchange account through the city
Right.
that limits the ability of the phone to have certain features for security reasons.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, so that's another side topic. But yeah, so I've already decided, though, I'm going to do another show
Yes.
in next year.
Good. And I think that's the way you should do it, because every show you learn a lot. You learn a lot about the process,
Yeah.
what you like, what you don't like. And it'll be my first show was just like, it was ball of nerves. I didn't know what I was doing, questioned every single thing I did. Second show, I just did what my coach told me to do, and I won. The first show I did, the nervous one, I got second. The show that I actually just kind of almost surrendered to the process, I won it.
That
I
was
think
the one.
that's-
That was the one after
that's
we
the one where
we started hanging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, man, you were a ghost. And,
I'm retired now. I'm
And
not I'm done.
not even 40, retired. But what was it? Anyway, yeah. It's been really. It's been fun because it's. For a while, because I keep one of my old belts, and I was like, I'll never fit in that.
Right.
Guess what? I fit in that thing again. I had a suit custom made. It's too big for me now.
Yep.
And I went, well, I shouldn't maybe get a little bigger in the shoulders, and actually, they left it a little bit big in the shoulder, so it fits there now, but the pants are too big.
Yep.
And so like my belt is on the last hole, and it's fun because I'm like, oh, I can wear those jeans again.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, there's a lot. There's a bodybuilding show or getting ready for a contest is a microcosm of all sorts of things. Like it bleeds into your life. And that's why, the people who should compete, the lessons they'll learn in competing, you're going to take that stuff in your real life. And you're going to apply it there too. It's going to teach you a whole new level of patience, self-discipline.
It's funny. It's a lot of things I was anyway.
Yeah.
Just had to be reminded. It was like when I read Jocko's book. I know all this stuff.
Yep.
And it's just, you got to refresh.
Well, I mean, look at Derek Weida and look at and Jocko. A lot of people in the military people or ex-military people are very well suited to this kind of lifestyle because it does ask of you to, a certain amount of discipline, sacrifice, multitask thinking, strategy, and all, even things like mission building and mission accomplishing, like setting long-term goals, short-term goals. Thinking about different scenarios, how they could end, how they could be made better. Yeah. Those are all things the military, really impress upon you when you first start.
And like changing the plan.
Yep, midstream, adapting.
A lot of people can't get their head out of like, well, no, this is the plan. You're like, yeah, well, it was. This is still the goal, but this is now the plan. And they can't. They don't like that.
No doubt, the military taught me that more than anyone else.
100%.
Is adapt on the fly and adapt to succeed. Adapt to win. Don't just adapt to get it done. Adapt to fulfill it.
And I think with a lot of people, there's a lot of how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yes.
Right. As you apply your principles to whether it's like a bodybuilding show or getting your daily work done or getting to the gym. How you do one thing will bleed into other parts of your life, right? 100%. So if getting ready for the show brought more discipline or had to with the food, that's why things tightened up at the office too, and that's why things have all started to come together.
And I like
right?
it though.
Yeah.
Like Jocko's thing is freedom through discipline. Yep. Which means like if you plan every part of your day, you will actually have more time to yourself because you won't waste that 5 minutes on Facebook or you won't waste that hour watching TV unless you want to.
And I'm about to enter. So my new form of therapy is actually going to be through an occupational therapist to do exactly that. So she's actually going to be working with me on scheduling and all that. And you're right. The more you sort of plan ahead, schedule, and the less you, and it is freedom because then you don't have to go worry about it. It's done. You don't have to worry about how it's going to go.
Hey, what are you doing on Monday? Oh, I can tell you exactly what I'm doing.
Exactly.
Doing this. Well, do you want to do that? Yeah, not that Monday. Maybe next Monday. Yeah. Because that's my problem too. When I first came into the politics, because of my advocacy and stuff, I was saying yes to way too much stuff.
Yeah.
And I would say things like, "Well, let's just get it done as soon as possible." Now, even at the office, I'm like, yeah. Most days, like no more than like 4 meetings.
Yep.
And I'll have days they'll be like, "Well, do you want to meet on this?" I'll be like, "You know what? Let's just leave that day, so we can do work." Maybe if something comes up, I can run out and handle it. But you gotta lessen it. It's not doing less, doing it that way. You just might do it later.
Yep.
And it's kind of weird in my brain, or it took me a bit to kind of get it in that. Oh, I don't need to do 10 meetings a day. I can do the same 10 meetings, just spread them out a little bit more, and it actually lets you get more done.
Absolutely.
Anyway. What a circle of discussion. What?
No, I was just wondering.
Oh, what time?
Yeah.
It is it's 7 minutes to 1100 hours. When do you turn into a pumpkin?
I don't. I was curious.
Oh. Well, I got turned into a pumpkin soon. I got to get ready to go meet the ladies auxiliary at the Legion.
Excited?
Giddy up.
Well, do we need anything else?
Not really.
I think we covered a lot.
Luke?
May not have been on the syllabus, but I think it was good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got a nice outline for the next show.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do.
Thanks a lot for having me over. It was good.
Dude.
It was fun.
Thanks for coming over. You want to come on more? Can I call you more?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm actually going to just take this moment to announce I'm actually developing my own podcast. Very
Finally,
different from this.
yes.
So it's going to be. I'm a really, really big fan. I've always have been of Art Bell's podcast. I know he's
Who?
one of the.
Sorry?
Art Bell had a radio show. Has a radio show. He's a guy.
Is he the midnight guy?
Yeah.
Or what's the show called?
It changes every now and again, but he's really into sort of esoteric stuff, occult stuff,
Yeah.
supernatural phenomenon. And that's kind of what I'm going to be focusing on. But, also throwing some politics in there, throwing some social stuff going on, just some things that are happening. That's kind of where my focus is. I've been doing a lot of reading to prepare for this, too. So what I did is the last few months, I've been basically reading up. And I got Jody to thank for that. Jody taught me something really important when I needed to hear it. Seek knowledge, right? And that's one thing, is knowledge to be good has to be balanced. You can't just be smart about one thing. You got to read a bunch of different things. Fill your head up with all kinds of stuff. You're going to forget some stuff. So keep filling it because it's a sieve, right? And so that's why I've spent the last few months doing is being quiet, reading a bunch of stuff, finding out what really makes me tick. And now that I feel like I got some stuff to say, I'm going to go on the radio and say it.
Good.
And I think I'd like to have you guys on because I think we had some discussions about that.
Well, Hank, you have no choice. We're coming on your show.
Right, yeah.
Basically.
Hey,
I'm not.
I'll be there.
And I'm also recording a new album under a new name as well. So that'll be fun. So lots of good stuff coming up, and I'll be happy to come and talk about it.
Tell our folks. So I don't know if you know this. Jody Mitic podcast is worldwide.
Worldwide.
We got listeners in Australia.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was the other part? New Guinea?
Yeah. I think that
Or was it-
that was it was something like that. It was like the furthest.
Anyway,
The furthest place
there's like
it was-
one. There's like this British expat that's like
Yeah.
in some Asian country somewhere
Awesome.
or something like that. So if you want people to get your old album,
Yeah.
which I haven't even heard,
Yeah.
by the way, can
Yeah.
you want to
the
drop
last
that?
album I released was under a band name called Antigen Shift, and the album was called Brotherhood. It was on Antigen,
Can you spell that?
Antigen, space shift. Antigen. It's a medical term. Antigen
Yeah.
shift,
What does that mean?
So when a disease kind of evolves,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
right, from one, not from one species, that's a drift, but it basically evolves into another completely other organism. It's a
Right.
survival strategy.
Yeah, that's
for-
from that
for
movie.
organisms.
Was it Patient Zero
It's in that. I
with the monkey and Dustin Hoffman?
Outbreak?
Outbreak. Yeah, I literally found the name by googling a medical dictionary because I've always been really interested in that kind of stuff, and it'll be a lot. My show will talk a lot about that kind of stuff.
So where can they
Right on.
find that album?
It's on I believe it's on iTunes. The record label is Signaler Records. It's
Nice.
if you Google it, there's quite a bit on it. But
Right
my
on.
new project's called Black Flame Revival, and it's more of a metal kind of project that I'm doing on my own with a bunch of guest musicians. So it should be a lot of fun. Have a lot of different
Cool.
people on the album and working together to do
That's
something
awesome.
different. Yeah.
Well, okay. Where else can they find you, man?
Right now, I'm on Instagram.
What's your name on Instagram?
And you know what? I don't Google myself on Instagram, so I'm not even
Okay,
sure
hang
my
on.
name
Here,
is.
I'll find you.
I'm pretty sure it's Ntario13.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so
Yep.
N, my initial N as in November.
Okay.
Last name Tario13, and I'm on Facebook as well as Nicholas Mark.
Do you want friend requests from people from around the world?
People can friend request me, and
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool, man.
Anyone can request me. I'm still heavily involved in the fitness industry. I'm actually attending the first SoCal Fitness Summit that's being led by John Romaniano in LA.
Right on. Don't
that'll
forget
be-
that other thing you said you weren't sure if you could announce it. So
Yeah, and that's the first week of February. And actually that's pretty much it for now. And definitely be popping up in both sectors.
nice. Well, Luke, where can they find you?
Coach Luke Rowan on the Instagrams and the Twitters.
And
Full
I'm-
spot.
Oh, sorry. What happened to your mic?
Nothing. What happened to your mic?
You went quiet for a second there.
Did it freak out?
I hear all mics.
Yeah. No, we're good.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm Jody Mitic, JodyMitic, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Google Plus, your mom's house, whatever. They can find the show. You can find the show. It's the Jody Mitic podcast on all those platforms as well. There's a little bit different spelling. Just type it in. It'll pop up. We're not going to talk about the good guys today because we are the good guys.
Correct.
So we're going to stay the good guys.
Bet.
This is the Jody Mitic podcast. Oh, right. Brought to you by Firehouse Coffee on Facebook as the Firehouse Coffee Roasters. Go ahead and hit Glenn. Sorry, Glenn. I'll know your name one day. Go ahead and hit Glenn up, and he might get around to sending you some sweet-ass 5-alarm coffee. And if you want to email us, it's the Jody Mitic podcast at gmail.com. We're getting some more emails, so keep sending them. Next show will be Wednesday. We have Josh Stiles from the Ottawa or the
Obstacle
course
racing
academy here in Ottawa.
OCR Academy.
OCR Academy. Former Spartan race guy. Adopted son of Max Keeping.
Very cool. Yes. I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
he's an awesome dude. He posted something the other day about when he flipped his Jeep, and there was pictures of him all bloodied up and
Oh,
stuff.
yikes, I
And
didn't see
so, for sure, gonna get him to talk about that. And he wants to, come on and talk about a little bit about his philosophy around fitness, which, according to him, saved his life. I don't know the background on that. I did see a picture he posted where he was a little bit heavier than he is now.
I'll anxiously be listening to that.
By a little bit, I mean he looked like he ate himself.
Right. Okay.
So I really want to hear about that because you hear that from a lot of people, actually.
Yeah.
Another buddy of mine, Greg Carver, he owns Strength Box in Toronto. Yeah, and he's a late 50s dude, jacked.
Yep.
He's got like that's at the gym where we filmed our video for Amazing Race, Corey and I.
Yeah. Yep. I remember that.
I asked him one day, I said, hey, what made you get into this? And he's like, well, something happened and I just needed the change. And he wouldn't get into it.
Right.
And you hear that a lot from people that are in gyms and own gyms and go that way. But anyway, so Josh coming on. We're pretty excited about that. I think if we connected with the buddy of his that's going to help out the show with some num-nums?
Yes,
Num-nums.
and it's in the works.
Could we maybe try and do it for Wednesday? At least have the num-nums?
I don't know. I will confirm.
Let's find
I will
out.
confirm.
Maybe Josh can bring some because I think they have some at their gym anyway.
Right.
And,
Okay.
and then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. This, you know what? You guys listening really probably don't want to hear all this admin talk.
Right. Yes.
As I was saying, this is the Jody Mitic podcast, episode 19. We're the good guys, and we're out.